Good morning. Here's looking at you, kid. Mm, mm. Time for my second cup of coffee. And when I'm getting ready to have it, I say I should do a video because I've got my coffee going. Mm. I don't think anybody enjoys coffee any more than I do. You know, the first thing I want to say to you is this. With whatever is within you, be at peace with all men. That's what God says. But with that said, have you noticed how it's almost impossible to be at peace with some of these people today? You're not allowed to have your opinion. You have an opinion, they're gonna block you, they're gonna cut you off. It doesn't even matter if you're family. Well, anyway. So with that said, yes, we try to be at peace with everybody. Try not to rebel rouse with your opinion, and I'm talking to myself too. By the way, this is Velma Hagar. You knew that, didn't you? With hidden treasures in secret places. And if you haven't got my book yet, by golly, get it on Amazon.com. Come on, baby. I've got 46 5-star ratings on Amazon. I'm pretty proud of that. And if you haven't given me a rating yet, would you, a review? Thank you. That's you. I'm talking to you. And if you haven't subscribed, right down there on your right-hand side, hit the button, subscribe. Every time I do a video, it will come up and let you know. Okay, be at peace with all men. But now, I want to tell you something else that I believe with all my heart. This is not scriptural. This is something that I feel. I believe in goodbyes. I believe that sometimes it's impossible to be at peace with certain people. Come on up, Guido, and see them on the camera. I see you there hanging around. And you know, when that happens, remember also that we are called to a life of peace. So if someone is jacking around with your peace, look at this guy. He never jacks around my peace. He's my buddy, Guido. Guido, the Italian stallion. Mr. Palm Springs Bow Wow, I will have you know, 2019, and deserved it completely. He's just gorgeous. Okay, anyway, so if they jack around with your peace, you've got to move on. You know, honestly, I've seen such a division in opinions. I mean, it's like we used to could communicate, you know, but no, now if you believe one way, you are just wrong. And you know, I do it too. I'm not saying it's all them. There are some people I have nothing in common with anymore because we just aren't even on the same page. They hate my president. I don't know, he's their president too, but they don't seem to think so. So, you know, that bothers me. I'm extremely patriotic. I believe what God's word says. And you know, somebody said the other day, you can't pray for someone who blah, blah, blah. You know what? That isn't true. That isn't true. God says pray for those in authority over you. And to say you can't pray for him, that is, you are saying that God's a liar. That's what you're saying. God says to pray for those in authority over you, that you may live a peaceful life. So every time you're out there jacking around and you're trying to destroy Trump and this country, you are causing all of us to not have a peaceful life. So with that said, okay, that's what I wanted to say about that. And remember, every person, no matter how much stuff they have brought into your life that you don't like, every single person has a purpose for being there. And you will learn something from them if you allow yourself. Keep your mind open. You know, one of the things today that I see in gross error, and again, I'm talking to myself, we close up our minds to only what we believe, and we don't even want to hear what the other guy has to say. Now, I have to tell you, there are some of the things that the left believe that I think is true. And, I mean, I wouldn't be over there at all. I wouldn't even consider it because of their full-term abortion, which is my main issue. Someone said to me the other day, I think you're a one issue voter, and it's abortion. And do you need another issue? Do you need another issue besides aborting full-term babies? Because if you do, something's wrong with you. You should not, nobody should need any other reason, nobody. So for that reason, I just wanted to get in. That's why I would never consider being a liberal. They're going to answer to God. Everyone that votes for that is going to answer to God for it. So I would not do that. But do they have some ideas that could possibly work? Yes. But you know what? We on the right are so closed up, just like they're closed up about us. We have got to try to see the other side of things. Now, I'm not going to try to see the side of anyone burning someone's building because they're mad that Black lives don't matter, which is so stupid to begin with. But I will see their part about wanting them to pay attention to them, but not by burning. Looting and burning, I will never look at your side. You have no reason to do that. But do policemen stop blacks more often? I think they probably do. I think they probably do stop them more often. But in the defense of the police officer, 50% of all the crimes committed in America are done by black people. And only 13% of the population is black. So for that reason, you have to say, well, wait a minute. Yeah, they do pull them over more often. And a lot of times they aren't guilty. That's not right. But how do they know? How will they know? If you haven't done anything wrong, just pull over, be nice to them, and accept the fact that until we can get the black population to stop committing crimes, you're going to have that happen. They're trying to take away the police. I'm like, defund the police. Duh. Now, with that said, I want to tell you that nowhere in the Bible do they mention police. In fact, it's kind of scriptural to not have police. The people are supposed to rule, but the people ruled back then under God. They all believed in God. If we could get our country back to where it belongs, we could be the police. We could. We would make our own decisions. Back in the day, that's what they did. They didn't have police. I can't find that anywhere in the Bible. So because of that, I would say, but again, with all the lawlessness we have, imagine being in a city where there's no police, it's defunded, and someone's breaking in your house and you got little children in there. Imagine, what are you going to do? Who are you going to call? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Until the day comes that everybody can operate in godly principles, then we could have defund the police, but not a moment before. We'd be in huge trouble. So with that said, now, the other thing I want to talk about is fretting and worrying. I've done 2 messages in a row, and I've got a lot of people communicating there, because I know that today, with what's happening, there's lots of fretting and worrying going on. The first thing I want to tell you is the word says, fret not. It will only cause harm. Only cause harm. Won't do anything else. Only cause harm. So when you're fretting, not only do you have the issue you're fretting over, now you're causing yourself more harm by fretting. Now, how do you stop fretting? How do you stop? And honestly, again, you guys, remember everything I say to you, I speak to myself. I love the line that says we teach best that which we need to learn most, because oftentimes when I am teaching something, I'm hearing it and going, whoa, that's true. I'm getting it too. But the way I have found to stop fretting, well, first of all, you have to believe and trust God. And then you have to know what His Word says, because there's not one single thing that you could fret over as a Christian, or as a believer, I should say, that isn't addressed in the Bible and isn't given an antidote in the Bible. Every single thing, not one thing is missing. But the sad part of it is you don't know what it is. You don't have any idea what it says, so you don't know what God has provided. You don't know the provision that God has left for you. And so I would suggest, if you haven't got it, I have got a lot of it in my mind. I've chosen to memorize a lot of scripture. My mind is filled with it, and I rarely even have to look them up anymore. I don't know where they're at. I couldn't tell you where they're located, but I know what they say. So if you don't want to take the time, the Bible is very, it's long and lengthy, and it takes a long time to read. I go through it in 1 year I go through it. But that's stopping and studying and, paying attention to what it says and running it over in my mind. Now, what do they mean by that? And, kind of getting more out of it than just reading. I don't think you just read it. What's the sense? But you get yourself a little promise book. And there's over 6,000 promises in the Bible. Now, the promise book will not have them all, but they will have the main ones, the ones that pertain to our life today, pretty much. So let's say that you have a financial need. Let's say you're in bad debt. Then you get in that, you look under debt or finances, and you find the scriptures that God promises you things. Now remember, just because he says something you don't take it as a promise. Like the whole book of Proverbs, nothing in there is a promise. They're all probabilities. So there are probabilities, but you'll know when you see a promise because he will give it to you, very clearly. He'll say, thus saith the Lord, or this is the inheritance of those that serve the Lord, or, so you'll get it. And also, when you put the rest of the Bible together, you'll understand another point that is very real, is that he says he's no respecter of persons, that what he's done for one, he'll do for another. So if you find a story of something like, for instance, Moses dying at 140, and his eyes had not grown dim, and his energy had not abated. So even though that isn't a promise per se, it becomes a promise because God says what he's done for one, he'll do for another. So if you really know the whole word, you can gather up all kinds of things that you would miss if you didn't know all of that. So you could put that together. You could say, hey, God, you know what? His eyes hadn't grown dim and his energy had not abated. So could you do that for me too, Lord? Yeah, so that's how it works. And wherever there's a promise, it belongs to you. Yes, it was all given to the Israelites back in the day. But remember that as Christians, we're grafted in, and we take all of those promises that he gave to them, and they belong to us today. So, boy, look how long I talk on this one. I've gotten to be really wordsy, and I know your attention span is only this big. You guys have very short attention spans. And my little guy, one more look at him, just one more look at this boy. Is he precious or what? If you don't have a dog, you are missing out. I'm telling you. Okay, I'm going to let you go, you guys. And until next time, this is Velma Hagar, bidding you a blessed day. And remember, I believe in goodbyes, and so should you. And fear not, it will only cause harm. Bye.